Welcome to Back on the Broomstick,
a modern witch's spoken word grimoire,
where two witchy friends from way back are reconnecting to their pagan roots after a long period of mundanity.
We're rewalking the path of the wise and trying out all the latest spells, rituals, and magical theory in today's witchcraft and pagan practices.
So grab your wand and your incense,
your cauldron and your crystals,
and join us
as we get
Back on the Broomstick.
Hi, and welcome to Back on the Broomstick. I'm Laylla.
And I'm Chelle.
In this episode, we're talking about the Besom, a witch's broom.
This is going to be fun because these brooms are great and I can't wait.
Me either. You know, the idea of witches flying across the night sky on a broomstick has been around since the 1400s.
When are you going to teach me how to fly?
You know, I'm working on it. Okay. The lore behind the Besom ranges from the raunchy to the mystic to the mundane. And we're going to talk about it in this episode with two absolute masters of the craft of creating Besoms. And they happen to be the artisans who made our beloved one-year anniversary Besoms. They have a delightful shop filled with handcrafted brooms, everything from a hearth broom to cobwebbers, Besoms, and sweepers to the absolutely stunning hand-fasting brooms.
And don't worry, because as fabulous as we're going to talk about these, Laylla will put all of their stuff, all their deets in the show details, all their website, socials, all of that. Check these guys out because they freaking rock, man.
We would like to welcome the Hags behind the brooms to talk about best friendship, crafting magical tools, as well as the bristling amount of broom lore and magic associated with the witch's Besom. Chelle and I are happy to welcome from 3 Moon Brooms, Monica and Hesper. How would you like to be referred?
Hag 1 and Hag 2.
Who's Hag 1 and who's Hag 2? That's what we'd have to decide.
So Hag 1 and Hag 2, Monica and Hesper, in no predetermined order here. So, lovely hags, if you would introduce yourselves.
Hi to the people.
Hi to the people. I'm Hag 1 or Hag 2, take your pick. One of the artisans here, 3 Moon Brooms, and we are so thrilled to get back on the broomstick with you guys. And I'm pretty sure the broom is big enough. There's room on the broom to hold all of us.
For everyone, there definitely is. And hello to Hesper. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Hesper. Happy to be here.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Now, I found you guys on Facebook and absolutely fell in love. Your site there is so much fun. And interspersed with these fun little witchy memes are these gorgeous, amazing
And you kept that a
brooms.
secret from me. You didn't even tell me that you found them.
I did.
No, she didn't tell me. I knew nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, once I found you guys, I knew our 1-year anniversary was coming up. So I knew I had to get in touch with you and have custom brooms made because that is something you lovely ladies do. And we were very excited to get them. I have, of course, scoured your website because I'm a big fan. And Monica, now your bio says that you are a Halloween-born witch.
Well, actually, the day before.
Hey, that counts. Day before, day after.
Yeah, I call it All Hallows Eve.
I love that.
That time of year has always been really, really significant to me and important to me. And so ever since I was, a little one, just I've always been drawn to kind of, magical things and occult things. And when I was in my early 20s, I was initiated officially into the craft by a well-known witch and herbalist up there in upstate New York, Susan Weed. Mm-hmm. So you may have heard of her. She has a couple of published books, really excellent, wise woman herbalist. And that kind of officially kicked off my journey, I guess, but it's always been in there. So I've been practicing the craft for about 30 years then. But the broom thing is fairly new, but, kind of fits right in there and is just a great, continuation and extension of my practice.
I was going to ask you, Monica, how many times as a kid did you actually dress up as a witch and have a broom?
Every Halloween. I think like a black hat may have slipped in there once.
That sounds familiar.
Same.
Yeah.
Now, Hesper, you and I had a bunch of synchronicities when we were talking while I was keeping things secret from Chelle. They just kept popping up. And one of them, I think, is that not only is someone in your life an Aquarian, but we also share the same birthday. And I think you're a Gemini.
I am a Gemini. You'll have to tell me your birthday again, and then I can tell you.
February 1st.
Oh, that's my mom's birthday. Yeah. But I have an Aquarius rising, so
What's your Gemini birthday? Because I'm a Gemini.
Yeah, May 23rd.
Oh, that's the day before my dad. I'm May 31st.
Oh, well, I had a Chihuahua with that birthday.
See,
Yes,
synchronicities
you can make a
everywhere.
synchronicity anywhere.
That's right. So tell us about your witchy journey.
I think, well, I have very unconventional parents. And so basically, I was raised by very open-minded, new-aged hippies, and they were incredibly accepting and encouraging of exploration, particularly in theology or philosophy. So we had access to just about everything when we were young. So when I talk about like books that I've read, like I was reading them as a kid even. But I think my first introduction to witchcraft was really in the early 90s. So when I was a teen, I think like most people, and I came across like Scott Cunningham's book, like Incense, Oils, and Brews. And that was like the very first book that I
Great
ever...
book, by the way.
Yeah, it is a fantastic book. And so then I just kind of read everything along that genre. And I was fortunate enough to work in a metaphysical bookstore when I was a teenager too. So then again, I had access to all of these great resources. I live in the Midwest, so I have not a super strong connection, but I have a connection to Circle Sanctuary because that's not far from my area. So I had been up there, but no fancy initiations or anything like that. I did study, I think, oh gosh, and Monica and I were trying to remember because I was going through like a priestess program again back in the 90s, and I don't even remember. That's how bad my memory is, which one it was. That's terrible. Was it Sisters of Avalon? I can't remember.
It was Sisters of Avalon.
Yeah, and so, but then again, I never really did anything substantial with it. It wasn't very solitary. And to me, it's always just been a personal journey, and it's really changed. But when I look back, it's been like over 30 years of practice and research. Anything in the occult, I think I've always had a fascination with, even as a really young kid. So that's kind of my journey.
Now, I'm very curious. Now, Chelle and I met in the southern tier of New York, kind of over Rocky Horror, Magic the Gathering, spades, and witchcraft, I think. When we were
It sounds like fun.
Yeah,
it was.
So what's your meet cute story for your friendship? How did you guys get together?
Okay, hag lore, here we go. We are actually relatively new friends too. And again, the synchronicities were astounding. We met online, which is kind of funny. We both belong
It's the new way to meet people. It's pretty common now.
I bought a house in the town that she grew up in Galena. And I won't interrupt. I'm just going to add into your story, Hesper. I'll let you tell the story. But I'll start it off by saying I bought a house in Galena. We'd been visiting that town for about a decade and just fell in love with, the driftless area, which is just the unglaciated area. It's the part of the Midwest that the glaciers didn't flatten, so it's not flat and boring like everything else. And it's just gorgeous rolling hills and, has a lot of historic charm. And I've always been into old homes and antiques and everything like that. So I fell in love with it over a decade ago. So we finally purchased. And then I was like, hey, I wonder if there's any other witches in this area. And so I searched for like a witchy Facebook group. And then we were all introducing ourselves. And that's how we met. Go ahead. You can finish.
Well, yeah, we met very casually on this driftless pagan group forum. And I think it wasn't like we had like the best introductions or anything like that. I don't even know how we really started. I feel like I
know.
I want to take credit. Like,
of course you do.
Of course, yes. I don't know what it was. We just loved each other right away.
Elf, no, you posted a picture of yourself dressed up with your hubby as the whole Fantastic Beasts in your Harry Potter room. And I was like, oh my God, who is that woman dressed up in that fabulous costume, standing in that fabulous room filled with all these magical things? And she seems kind of crazy and it's wonderful. And I really hope she'll be my friend. That's what I remember thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you were talking more about your house.
Outside of that group, I think you messaged me first.
I did. I think maybe about your home in Galena or something like that. And it turns out just the more we started communicating, the more we realized how actually connected we were. Not only did she buy this historical house, she bought the house right next door to my childhood house.
Oh,
so,
wow.
That was kind of neat. And even a house that I had spent a great deal of time in growing up because ownership had changed and I had friends that lived there and things like that. So that was neat, but we also shared the love of the same art form. So we're both like needle felters. And she had, well, of course I was like stalking her a little bit on Facebook, like looking at her profile. I think this was before we were even friends, but I was just like, who is this bitch?
It was like a mutual infatuation.
Yes. And so I saw an image of like a needle felted rooster that she did. And I'm a big needle felter too. So I think at that point I messaged her like, OMG, I'm sorry, but like you're my best friend now. I hope you go along with it. So I hope that's okay. We've been inseparable since, really. Like, she's the first person I contact in the morning. She's the last person I contact before I go to bed. And all day long, there's constant correspondence. And we joke about how we share a brain, but really it's like we kind of do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
There was a point in mine and Layla's relationship where my first ex-husband was starting to ask if she was going to contribute to the lights and gas bill.
Yeah, I was there maybe a little bit.
A little bit. Maybe a day or two a week.
So out of this friendship, this infatuation, obviously you're both crafters, which I love. Chelle and I are both crafters. How did the broom thing happen?
Well, I want to take credit for that.
Okay.
So, yeah, I said to Hesper one night, I was like, wouldn't it be so cool? I remember seeing something about a learning how to make brooms workshop here in the Chicago area. And she was like, oh my gosh, yes. And so I looked it up, and I think it was a place called Sideshow Gallery here in Chicago. But they weren't offering it currently. Well, this is like right still in like the scope of COVID. And I couldn't find any classes, couldn't find anything, and found something online. I was like, oh my gosh, I found this person who teaches broom making classes online. Let's think about doing this. And the next thing I knew, she's like, oh yeah, I thought about it. And I signed up for like the next 5 classes. She's always miles ahead. So I went on to Etsy and I found these handmade brooms. I understand now that they are made on traditional hand-worked machines. So they were machine made, but handmade with machines, if that makes sense. But they're beautiful. They're black handle and all black. And, I sent her one and a little note included that says we ride at midnight.
Nice.
So it was like, that's kind of like what kickstarted everything. So yeah, Hesper was the first one to actually watch the tutorial and learn how to make a whisk. And then I was a few months behind her, just kind of getting through the holidays myself, and visited our home in Galena over that holiday break in 2021. And she came over and she showed me in person, because I'm a very visual learner, how to make a whisk. So I made my first whisk there, and I'm looking at it hanging in my kitchen right now. But so she actually showed me how to do it, because she had been making them for a couple months already. Am I remembering it right?
Yeah, your recall is good.
Yeah. For the most part.
Yeah, and we both really just dove in. It like once we started, we just didn't stop. And then I think it seemed like such a natural art form for both of us, and very instinctual as well. And so it is difficult to do. It's not that broom making is easy. It can be learned, just like any skill or trade can be learned by repetition and practice and whatnot. But it's just something I think we both enjoy doing, and it
felt natural.
Consumed our lives.
Yeah,
very much.
Like our hands kind of remembered. It was a remembering. That's the best way I can describe it. So, but we look at some of our early brooms and we're like, oh my God, they're fugly.
Oh yeah.
So there's definitely been, an improvement with our application to the craft. And it's so nice to see that progression and artistry, with attention.
I'll be honest, I am blown away. And, I'm definitely putting on my customer service face while you were telling your story, because I am in utter shock. These, I've got mine right here behind me, and this damn thing looks like you guys been doing this shit for 20 years. This is top notch. This is freaking top notch.
Thank you.
You can tell from the pictures online, your Etsy shop, your website, on your Facebook, My Gorgeous Hagatha, you can tell the magic, the love, the beauty. I can see that your hands remembered, because These are gorgeous. I mean, the colors, the things that you put on them, the dried flowers, the crystals, the care you took.
Everything you would want a witch's broom to be, these are.
Oh,
Yeah,
They
thanks.
are. I'm absolutely phenomenally in love with my broom. As Hesper knows, I named it before I even got it.
that was a good sign.
I saw the picture and I was like, that one's mine, that one's Chelle's, and her name's Hagatha. So
They're
here
fun
we
to
go.
make, and they are a sister set, which is not easy to do. I mean, every broom is different. Of course, everyone is completely unique. You can't really remake the same broom twice. You can make it similar, but it's not the same. But even the sticks, and they're both on ash sticks, are similar. They're almost mirrored in a way, which is like they are.
really
If they're
are.
together, they're a set.
I loved it.
That's why I knew that when Layla's had traveling issues, that's why we knew that it would arrive, because one arrived, the other had to. It just had to.
Now, I'll link in the show notes the episodes where we talk about my poor broom's journey and Chelle's mean part in it.
It's your own fault. Seriously.
I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
Me too.
So,
Me too.
but honestly, even though it took well over a week or so more than it was supposed to, I honestly was never worried. You guys said that you have never lost a broom.
Never.
Oh, that's true.
I had no doubt. I got a little angry with people when I was emailing people because they're like, well, just contact the company and have them send you another one. I'm like, you don't understand. There is no sending another one. This is a set. They're sister brooms. They're beautiful. You can't break up a set. But I knew that it was coming.
And I did have a lot of guilt because it was a surprise for me. My broom showed up right before I was traveling from Massachusetts to New York to go see Laylla. And I'm at her house for 4 days, and UPS was just not coming. And I knew I had almost quasi-cursed it. So I was feeling such guilt, and this guilt was like in-person guilt. And I'm like, no, it'll be here before I leave. It'll be here before I leave. And I left, and I was like, God damn it, it isn't there. But didn't it show up like the day after I left?
The next morning. Yep, the next morning it showed up. It was better. All right. So, Monica, Hesper, I have some questions. Now, Chelle, you're going to have to play this game too, okay?
All right, let's do this.
So, we're going to test everybody's friendship. So, I'm going to ask you some questions.
I feel like I need a buzzer.
These are like a who is question. So, you'll answer either with your own name or your friend's name. So, whoever's most likely or least likely to do whatever these questions are.
Oh, I'm excited. I don't know the questions.
Oh gosh, I'm kind of afraid.
All right. So, first question. Now, I know our listeners are going to know the answer for Chelle and I, but in your friendship, who is the fuck around and find out one?
I think that's you, Monica. That is you.
Monica, you and I are the same. We're the same.
I'm a Scorpio, so I'll just blame it on that, it takes a lot to get me rattled, but then, you want to fuck around and find out, you ask for it.
Mm-hmm. All right. You ready, Chelle? We're going to answer?
Me.
Chelle.
Me.
Definitely. All right. So who is the practical one?
Again, Monica.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
All right. Say a name, Chelle. Are you ready?
Yep. Laylla.
Chelle.
Really? You think I'm practical? What the hell?
Sometimes, yeah. No, it's probably me.
I'll take organized. You get practical.
Okay, that works. I'll go with that. That's fair. All right. So who do people think is scarier?
Monica, I think this is you again.
I don't know. Do I win a prize?
So, Chelle, who do people think is scarier?
Me.
Chelle.
Hands down.
So second question is who is actually scarier?
So,
Well, depends on the day. We'll go with Hesper.
really, I still think it's you, but
I have a good defense answer for this.
Okay.
I know that I come across as a scary one, and I know that 9 times out of 10 in reality, I am the one to be scared of, but you get Laylla to that point, man. And if you get her to that point, I'm nothing.
For Chelle, the line's right here. For me, the line's way over there. So I think that's
but
the
if you get
difference.
Laylla to that line, she blows me out of the water.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with that.
Okay, next question. Hesper and Monica. Who is most likely to be killed if they were killed first if they were in a horror movie?
I think that's me.
You think it's you, Hesper?
It is me.
Oh, I don't know.
Do you think it's you, Monica?
I don't know. I got some fight in me, so I don't know.
Would you two like duke it out to the end? Would you be the sole survivors?
I'd be like, I'll go ahead and die. I'm not playing any silly games. I'm not gonna be tortured. There's worse things than dying. I'll go first. That's fine. Take me.
Grab onto your broomstick, witches. Back after these messages. Hey, all you witches, pagans, heathens, and magical souls. Chelle and I want to give a big thank you to all of our donating patrons. And we want to remind you that if you become a donating patron before April 8th, we'll be doing a drawing for a tarot reading by Chelle during the solar eclipse. All you need to do is sign up to donate to the show by April 8th. Thank you so much to everyone who's donating to Back on the Broomstick. It really helps out the show. Keep it witchy. All right, Chelle, what do you think? Who's going to die first?
I think it's going to be me because I'm fuck around and find out, and because I'm the one that's going to test the limit right from the get-go. I always say that when the world goes to pot, you're the one I need to be with because you're going to be the one who's going to save me. I'm going to be the one that's going to get us killed.
Aw. See, I would say I would like to think that we would go together to the end. We would be together, we would beat it, and we'd survive at the end.
But alone, I'd be dead first.
All right, next question. Who is most likely to accidentally summon a demon while cranky?
It's a tie.
I don't know.
I love how sweetly you said that.
Well, but like with Monica, there's no accident about it. Like if she's cranking and to summon a demon, it's coming. No accidents there.
Did somehow were Monica and I cut from the same cord?
I think so.
Maybe.
That was my second question is who is most likely to summon a demon on purpose while cranky?
Don't make me say it.
I feel like this is the Chelle and Monica show.
Painful magic, but you know.
Hey, everybody needs an itchy asshole spell.
We'll fuck around and find it. Right.
Right.
So, who is most likely to get a random tattoo on a night out?
Oh, that's probably Hesper.
Got an Aries moon.
I'd go with Laylla.
I think that'd be both of us.
Yeah, I'd go with Laylla.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Random tattoo? Yep, I would do that. Speaking of which, there may or may not be a tattoo in our future at the end of this month.
Ooh, what? Ooh.
Well, we'll tell you guys, but we won't tell anyone else.
Okay.
But it's going to be a...
Yay!
On our tat list.
Yes.
I love that. We'll send you ours, so you'll have to send us yours when you get them.
Got it.
Yeah.
But nobody knows yet, so
We won't tell.
It's a secret. All right, who's most likely to be a low-key conspiracy theorist?
Oh, that's Hesper.
Me.
Laylla.
That's Chelle.
No, I am. No, you said low key. That's where you.
Oh, that's true. I'm low-key, you're high-key.
That's where you just nixed me out of it when you said low key.
Good point. Very good point. I concede that point.
Because I am a loud and proud conspiracy theorist. Bigfoot is out there, damn it, and I'm gonna
That's
hang
true.
with him.
That's true. Okay. I'll give you that one on a technicality. All right. Our first podcast, we mostly talked about paranormal events and ghosts and things like that. And I'm telling you, every single place has a portal to hell.
Really? Cool.
I don't know why, but they all do. So, out of the two of you, who is most likely to stumble upon a portal to hell or another dimension?
Hesper.
Me.
I think she grew up with one.
Yes, I did.
Oh,
Now,
Chelle.
I would say me, but in mine and Hesper's defense, we'd also be dragging Laylla and Monica, who would actually willingly go. Okay, just because we find
true.
it doesn't mean they're not willingly going with us.
That's a good point. So this leads me to my last question, which you may have already answered a little bit, but who has lived in the most haunted places?
Oh, Hesper.
Me. Yeah.
Laylla.
I would say me, although Chelle has lived in some pretty haunted places.
Yeah, until
I'd
that
say
time
me.
I spent the night at your dad's house and just wanted to run screaming.
Different podcast. We'll talk about that another time. But it sounds like, Hesper, you lived in a place with a bad portal or a bad ghost?
I wouldn't say bad. I just,
Not bad.
lots
Active?
of a lot of activity in my childhood home growing up, the one that's right next to the house that Monica had purchased. And the town that we live in, Galena, Illinois, is notorious for its own sort of paranormal activity. And yeah, I just think every little house that I have been in has had something, not my current house, and nothing terrible, nothing really frightening. I think the most frightening place I ever lived was actually a place in Chicago where I lived. But yeah, just weird stuff. Can't explain it.
I love that. Yeah, same thing. Very active. I wouldn't say bad necessarily,
Really?
although there were some
Really?
places that Yeah, I would say really not that bad, just active.
Just that one bedroom.
Just that one room. The one I made you sleep in. All right. So on your website, you have a page of broom lore. And I loved it because I also have, obviously back on the broomstick, we also have a whole bunch of broom lore.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any particular broom lore that's your favorite or anything that you think about while you're creating brooms?
Question.
Well, the first thing I always think of when you say broom lore is that scene in Practical Magic, of course, one of my favorite movies.
Same.
When, when one of the ants says, broom fell, company's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of the pieces of broom lore I love the most is if, somebody's overstaying their welcome, you want to get guests to leave or not show up at all, you just put a broom bristle up by the door.
Yes.
And I think that works. I may or may have not have tried that out before, but I do think it works. It's something about a bristle up broom, which is like, see you later, time to go.
Yeah, boundaries.
Just to add a little bit to that, in some different places, depending on what folk magic tradition you follow, I've heard some people like bristles up because that keeps the luck in the broom.
I've heard that too.
So they keep bristles up regularly to keep the luck in the broom.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for them, turning it upside down, like if you normally keep it right side up, if you turn it upside down, that's kind of like the switch to get people out of your house. So if you normally keep it bristles down and you turn up bristles up, just like Monica said, that's lore I've heard to get somebody out of your house, or just keep it that way by your front door. Just kind of like, I don't want anyone coming in at all.
I think part of the origin of having it bristles up is also for a practical reason, because you'd never want to store a broom actually sitting on its bristles because it'll just, mess with the longevity of the broom. And we've seen some brooms that are hundreds of years old that are still in like decent condition because broom corn lasts a really long time when it's cared for properly. So, we put little hanging loops on our brooms just for the purpose of not actually storing them on their broom on the bristle part. That could be part of that lore of keeping it bristle up. But I've heard that also, keep it bristle up to keep the luck in. And then, the whole thing about just brooms symbolically sweeping away the negative and clearing out your space, and sweeping through your house, opening both doors and going from the front door and sweeping everything out the back door as just a form of energetic cleansing and magical clearing is something that, we do ourselves and we encourage. And I think it's a good practice. Spring cleaning.
Yes. I mean, brooms are one of those really amazing sympathetic magics. I mean, if you think of what a broom actually does, that's what it does magically. Like in Practical Magic, which Chelle and I love too. At the end of the movie, all of the neighbors, all the women get together with their regular mundane brooms to, trap that energy and then sweep it out of the house. That's another bit of broom lore I've heard is you're always supposed to sweep from the center out of a room. You're not supposed to sweep into the center.
Isn't that the whole point of sweeping away?
Yeah, sweep away those bad energies kind of thing. But again, it kind of follows a very practical, if you think practically what the broom is doing, that's what it's also doing magically. And I love tools like that. That's one of my favorite magical types of tools.
Me too. I'm a big practitioner of sympathetic magic. Like it has to make sense to me symbolically in order for it to be meaningful in my brain and connect on that magical level. So, and brooms are definitely a magical tool that's easy to do that with.
I know on your website you say that all of these gorgeous brooms that you folks make can also be used to actually clean.
Oh yeah, you can
Now,
clean with them.
first of all, I want you to just talk about that real quick. But second of all, I just want to put it out there. This thing is so damn gorgeous. I would never dare sweep my kitchen floor. That would be blasphemy to me. Blasphemy. But you can use the brooms that you guys make for actual practical.
Oh yeah.
I would feel horrible doing it.
Well, ours are special. They're, these ladies were created for magical use, not necessarily.
I know, but I'm just saying in general, the brooms that they offer on the website.
Yes.
They're made out of broom corn, which is sorghum vulgare. Did I say it right? And it's a type of grain. That's what's been traditionally used, especially to make American brooms for hundreds of years. And they really do sweep. They, the little bristly ends pick up all the dirt and dust and everything else, and they really do sweep. And I actually clean my workspace with a whisk broom, a handheld whisk broom that I made when I was first starting out, and I still use it to sweep the floor.
I'm a little obsessed with broom corn. I love
Oh,
growing things. So I've actually started looking into how to grow it. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to try. It'll be fun. But I heard that, was it Benjamin Franklin introduced broom corn into the U.S.? Yeah. So a little history there for you. I also see on your website, you guys sell hand fasting brooms, which are so gorgeous. I think those are very, very beautiful. Do you know any broom lore about hand fasting and broom?
I think there's a pretty rich tradition, and it actually comes from a lot of different cultures too, about like jumping the broom to symbolize, fertility, protection of the marriage. But really, I think it is the binding of the two, the two energies together. So a lot of our brooms are done on sort of a forked stick.
It looks like a couple.
Yeah, they do.
It looks like a couple holding each other. I love it.
Yeah, and so they come from a lot of different cultures, and people talk about the African origins or like the Celtic origins predominantly. So again, but a lot of times too, I think hand fasting in general or wedding traditions have changed or have been modernized too, where either they're using it as like a purification or a protection of the actual ritual or rite place, or the actual like jumping over it as the symbolic, we're reaching this threshold together, we're going into our next life together as part of that traditional mythology.
I've actually used a broom and did a broom jump in a hand fasting. And I think that the symbolism for me is that I look at a broom as both male and female. You know how certain magical tools either have a male aspect, the chalice is very feminine, the athame is very masculine. I find a broom to be kind of both.
Mm-hmm. They are male and female. The bristle is the feminine aspect, and the phallic aspect of the stick is obviously the masculine aspect. So it's the joining of those two energies,
which make it perfect for a hand fasting ritual tool, I think.
I think so too.
It's also very symbolic of a home, and you're joining homes and you're creating a home when you get married or hand fasted. And a broom is you see a broom, you immediately think of your house. I mean, where else? You don't really see brooms outside too terribly much. They're usually in a home. So what better symbol of a house or a new house together than a brand new broom? Another piece of broom lore is that you're supposed to never bring an old broom from your old house to your new house. You should leave it there, and you should bring a new broom into your new house.
It's your own magical broom.
Yes, magical brooms are different, right?
They're a different tool. But yeah, a broom for cleaning, I think, and that's just a symbol of, a new beginning with your new space, which makes sense.
I don't know if this is maybe a regional thing, but I've actually, in upstate New York, moved into several apartments where you move in, not a damn thing in the place except some rando broom. And it's just like, you took all your personal belongings and you left a broom in the corner. But that's happened at more than one place when I was younger, I moved into.
And it's a common gift too, to give somebody a broom when they're moving into a new house. So hopefully they weren't leaving their old crusty broom behind. Maybe it was a gift of a new one. I don't know.
No, unfortunately, it was pre-loved.
Oh, okay.
We'll call it pre-loved.
A symbol of protection. So, I know that a lot of customers buy our brooms to hang them by the front door or above a door. Because again, it's that whole thing of, here's a protective barrier. I'm only going to let the good in, sweep away the negative. Also cleansing for anybody that comes through that door. I mean, there's all sorts of ways you can magically charge a broom with intention while you're hanging it up. So, and we've, been sent lots of great pictures by customers who have bought brooms from us, and they're doing just that. They're hanging by the door or above the door, and they look great, and they're doing their job, and we're happy to populate the world with brooms.
I am too, because these are beautiful. And I don't know if you can see it, but I have a regular dollar store broom that the coven here that I work with gifted everybody in the circle. And they actually spoke about practical magic, and we put the brooms together kind of like they did in that movie to form a circle. And I love this broom. It's a dollar store broom. It's plastic and metal, but I do love it. It's definitely still a magical tool, even though it's
the intent that was put into it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I'm not gonna shame her. She's, a dollar store broom. It's okay. But my the but having a magical tool that's crafted by an artisan with obvious love and care and dedication, I'm thrilled. I know you said before that matching the shafts of the broom wasn't easy for Shells and my sister brooms, and I really appreciate that. I knew it was kind of a big ask when I said I didn't want them to be twins. I kind of wanted them to be sisters, and you guys definitely came through. But it's details like that you guys do in these brooms that truly make them special, and I really, really appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for reaching out to us. That was a real honor for us to do that.
And from my perspective, it was like the most amazing surprise. Laylla tortured me. And like, I don't take secrets well unless I'm the one keeping them. And even then, I'm usually the first one to like spill my own damn secret. When you're trying to hide something from me, it takes like a feat of epic proportions to pull it off. And she did it. All I knew was like, what was it, a week before you just said you're going to get something in the mail. And I'm like, well, what am I getting in the mail? I don't know. I can't talk. Got to go. Bye. And, I see this big thing and I'm like, I know that's a broom. The only thing that could be is a broom. And, I said this on the episode. We had an episode where we talked about when we got them, or right when I got mine and Laylla waited. I have to point out, and I pointed this out in that episode, people are not going to get something that is better packed for shipping than these brooms. Like, I have never seen something packed for shipping so thoroughly and so safely. This thing could have gone through a nuclear bomb and still would have arrived in my hands in perfect condition. But after 20 minutes of opening it, because it almost took me that long, I just couldn't believe what I was looking at. Because again, for me, I had no idea. This was a total surprise. I had no idea what I was opening. And I had no words when I was opening this and saw this. So you guys do an absolutely amazing job. Absolutely amazing.
Yay.
Your Facebook page is so much fun. You guys definitely have a lot of fun along with crafting these beautiful brooms.
We don't take ourselves too seriously at all. And part of, I think our journey as friendships too, is that we have a very similar sense of humor, which is kind of, we're an acquired taste too. Not everybody gets us, not, like we're not for everybody.
We're a little out there.
Yeah. And so that's just part of who we are. That's like essentially we're just goofy, a little dark, maybe very dark, but quirky. I think if you're going to understand us as artists or as people or as creators, that's a big part of it, is that we're going to have fun while we're doing it.
I think that's the important part of it.
Or what's the point? I mean, have fun doing it, or what's the point?
Oh, I love that. Yes. That applies to so many different things. It really does.
Laylla mentioned your socials and your website, and I have a burning question because I am a closet cat lady, maybe not so closet. Who has the gorgeous cat that's on your website? Because I gotta know. That cat is gorgeous.
Is it Charles? Is he kind of the cross-eyed, goofy looking?
Cross-eyed, yeah.
Yeah, that's mine. So I had 3 cats now. And he just showed up. I live in the forest, so there's about 500 acres of woods behind me. And he just showed up one February with a big gash on his face. And he was,
Poor kitty.
I know he wasn't doing too good. And I did not want to like him at all. I'm a cat lover, but I was like, not another cat, not another cat. I mean, I'll get him fixed and I'll get him shots and we'll treat his wounds and everything, but then he's just going to be an outside cat. No, not. He's so lovable. But that's Charles. And yes, he is, officially a broom squire.
He's gorgeous.
Who's the Baba Yaga fan?
Oh, that's the boss.
Yeah.
Both of you. I see Baba Yaga a lot there, and I just love that tale, and she's pretty amazing.
One of our current obsessions, I think.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining us. And thank you for our amazing brooms. I cannot say thank you enough.
You're welcome.
Where can people find you? I will definitely put links to your socials and your website in the show notes, but where in person or where online can people find you and your creation?
You can find us on Etsy. Under that site is 3 Moon Junction. And then our website is 3moonbrooms.com. You can find us on social media too, just 3 Moon Brooms. We do a few events throughout the year. We tend to do local ones to the Midwest. So We have a witches market coming up in October in Belvidere, Illinois, and then in our hometown of Galena, Illinois, their country fair will also be the second week in October. So those are our only ones on the books yet, because honestly, our online sales and interest and custom orders keep us pretty busy, so we don't have to venture too far.
And we are living proof that ordering it online is not only easy, but customizable, and you will definitely get it no matter how hard the USPS tries to lose
A
it.
70-inch package. I mean, they're massive. I don't know how they could just misplace it. It's huge.
And they didn't. She got to me safe and sound. So thank you, Hesper and Monica, so much for joining us. And,
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Back on the Broomstick. Please join us next week on Friday as we discuss even more topics that you have sent in. If you'd like to hear something or just want to tell us what you think, please email us at backonthebroomstick@gmail.com. And please rate us, give us stars, reviews. It really helps the show out, and we appreciate it. So we will see you next time. Be wise, be wicked, and as always,
Keep it witchy.